Yeah, that off season's long. It starts in December really and goes all summer with our kids in summer school and everything. So all of our freshmen, we have 7 new players. So that's half our team, and most of them came most of the summer. So they had a chance to get in with Chris Virtue, our strength training coach, and work out every day, train in the gym, having our upperclassmen coach them because obviously we're not allowed to do that still. So I feel like we were ready to go in preseason as far as conditioning, mentality, and I think that really helped us have a good 2 weeks prior to today.
Individually, with Megan being the setter and now a senior leader, how much has she grown?
Yeah, she had a good off season. She realizes, I understand Megan a lot. She has a lot of influence. That's her personality, and I think she's really used that influence in the right way now. When somebody has that capability to have a lot of influence, they can use it in a wrong way or a good way. And she's learned how to really use it in a positive way, and her and Taylor Lebo are our captains this year, and I think they've really taken it to heart in how to lead this young team and understand the legacy they'll lead. And, Megan's very talented, and I think she has the capability to have a very good year and bring the level of our play up on our side of the net.
With the non-conference, you speak to it every year, but preparing for what is the Big Ten Conference in volleyball, how do you make those steps through this weekend and the next 3-4 weeks before Big Ten play?
Yeah, the big part of it, the scheduling takes months because you're really trying to find the magic formula of RPI and playing in the best conference in the country for volleyball. So you're getting enough wins, but preparing your team enough to play in that conference, which maybe, as we all coaches think, is probably the best year for the Big Ten, as far as looking at multiple teams could win national championship this year instead of looking at one team. So we did try to really bring our strength of schedule up. We also planned to play at home this weekend because we had so many freshmen, and we felt like that transition into college life, dorm, all that type of stuff was a little overwhelming. And so we usually go on the road the first weekend, and we decided to stay home. And I think that will help us a great deal. We're playing teams that have been in the NCAA tournament, and we need to get wins against them to bring our RPI up prior to playing in the Big Ten Conference. And then you're looking at, if you can get 10 wins out of the 20 in the Big Ten Conference, you're probably going to the tournament. So, the magic number is right around 20, 21 total wins. And we're clear on that, and we've had a lot of goal-setting sessions, and we understand however we need to get it, we have to get it. And we start that today.
What's practice been like this week since the Cream and Crimson scrimmage?
Yeah, we've upped the pace. I think when you're in preseason, you have to be a little bit careful with bodies, and especially when they train all summer too. It's not like they're off and then coming back. So with two-a-days and some individual work and everything, we slowed it down a little bit. Not slow, but you know what I mean. We had to kind of moderate a little bit, staying down some practices, jumping some practices. So with only one practice a day, we've really upped the ante kind of on the pace of practice and the intensity of practice. So I feel like that has really helped the kids, get them in the mindset of, okay, here's a 2.5-hour practice, maybe what you're going to have to play in a match. And at the end, we're probably playing our best volleyball. So I think they feel confident in going in there with their conditioning, with their mentality, sustaining a focus for longer periods of time. Now, game day is a little different. I mean, everybody's going to be a little giddy today and a little nervous across the country, not just us. So I think you have to kind of, as some sports psychologists say, you got butterflies, you got to make them fly in formation a little bit, tonight as much as possible.
Other than wins, how do you measure success for this weekend?
Yeah, I think, the goals that we've set, the pace that we want to play, the discipline on defense that we've worked so hard on since spring. Serving's always been a huge key for us. We've always been 1 or 2 in the Big Ten Conference. So understanding that we might have to bend a little on serving right now and just put pressure on teams and not break them right away, because we will probably have a few errors tonight. So staying in the process of things instead of looking at the outcome, because I think you start to look at the outcome and you forget everything you work on in practice. So keeping the mentality, I think, is what we're looking for of just the machine work that we do every day in practice.
With so many young players, how do you best keep the culture that you already had established forward when it is half the team that's new?
Yeah, well, I think you have to have good senior leadership, and I think in any program, any sport, if you don't have that leadership, you're probably not going to go very far. And I think our our seniors and our juniors really spent a lot of time this summer developing that culture. And I think we recruit the type of kids that buy into that culture. So I don't think that's been a huge issue. Obviously, though, you have a transition when you have a top 30 recruiting class coming in that's always known success, always played, always been the best at everything. I think that's a transition. You know, some of them have gone through some self-confidence over the last few weeks of, wow, I thought I was really good, and now I've had a couple of bad days. And so this week we've really tried to build them back up to, hey, you are good. There's a reason you're here. You're a great volleyball player. You know, let's go out and show them.
Other than staying at home this first weekend, how have you helped your brand new team get acclimated to students and athletes?
We have a big sister, little sister program. That's always been very beneficial to us, where our big sisters, they know all summer who their little sister is. So it's little things, they stay with them, you know, not in the dorm in the summer. They actually, all of our kids live together, even the freshmen, whether they sleep on couches or whatever. I think it's a good time for them to bond a little bit. And as far as taking them to get their books, showing them every class they have, sitting down with their schedules and going over it with them, because, you know, one of them saw one of the freshmen on campus yesterday with a map. You know, I mean, there's just, you forget when you get as old as I am now. I forget my freshman year, and you know, you think, oh, you're just playing sports and going to school, but holy cow, you've also left home and done all that. So, you know, I sat down with my staff one day after we didn't have a great practice. I said, we have to remember that we have a whole lot of young kids with a lot on their mind and a lot of distractions, and we have to give them a break sometimes and kind of refocus them. So I think our upperclassmen, though, the big sisters specifically, have done a good job of being that person there to help them kind of get through some of the tough times right now.
How is Coach Benson doing with the transition from playing to?
She loves it, I'll say. She has been, I took her with me to do a speech for the Northside Exchange Club the other day, and you know, they were just oohing and awing over her, you know, to have a first-team All-American back that's from Bloomington and has such a tradition here with her family and everything. You know, she's loving just being able to give that passion and work with the middle blockers, and two of them are freshmen, and they're very talented. And then Jasmine McDonald obviously trained with the USA collegiate team this summer, so the opportunity for her to come in and really put an impression on the middle blockers in a position that she was one of the best in the country really gives her a sense of giving back to a program and to a school that gave her such a great opportunity, I think.
Coach, is this one of your younger teams since you've been coaching?
Next year will be probably the youngest. We'll have 10 freshmen and sophomores next year. So we have 5 2017s coming in. So this is kind of a mixture, having the freshmen and the seniors, and then a little bit in between, which is not a bad thing, you know, because I think our seniors are so good and such good people. But we have a lot of freshmen that could play. And so I think seeing some of those freshmen on the court tonight and throughout the season, that's pretty young, you know, to throw out there. But I think they have the right mentality, you know. They came from Sports Performance Volleyball Club, which is one of the top in the nation, Munciana Volleyball Club, which is one of the top in the nation. So they played at a very high level with a lot of Big Ten athletes, you know, that are going Big Ten this year. So I think they understand it, and the play transition wasn't as much as the overall transition of just college life, I think.